Hello, it's Saturday and we are here,
Hello, how are we doing?
which is unusual. This is going to get very confusing because we're not really good at times and dates as it is, and it's now 24 hours earlier than normal.
We'll be all over the shop.
Well, it wouldn't be us if we weren't, let's be honest.
Well, we've got plenty to talk about because somebody didn't turn up last week.
Again, it's becoming a habit. It's like, you forget that this exists occasionally.
Just a few holidays going on at the minute.
You live as a holiday, let's be honest.
Yes,
but it's finally the biggest sporting weekend of the American calendar. The Super Bowl is here.
And they've not stopped talking about it all week, have they?
No, they do tend to make quite a big deal of everything that they do in America that they enjoy.
Every time you see it's like before he goes to the Super Bowl, before his Super Bowl performance, it's like it's just Tuesday. The Super Bowl's a week away. Calm down.
Here was a thought. Why do they not play it on a Saturday? Surely that'd be better for the worldwide audience. If they want to, I get it's massive anyway, but if they wanted to make it better and bigger in Europe, Australasia.
When would that have to be, though? Would that have to be
Saturday
afternoon? I don't know where is it in America? Night, I don't know where they're playing it.
New Orleans. So it kicks off at 11:30 UK time.
Clearer to me, because I don't know where that is neither.
It's South Central is the best way to describe it, or Southeast Central
of
America.
The whole of. I thought you meant of a certain part of America. I didn't think you meant the entirety of America.
No, so it's kind of where Florida is. It's slightly to the west of Florida, low down in Louisiana. So it's east of Texas, but west of Florida. It's in that bit. Which I think they randomly call the Midwest, but I don't understand.
What day is it on in America then? Sunday morning?
About Sunday night, Sunday tea time-ish.
No, it can't be.
Well, it is.
It just is. On, isn't it?
No, it's on middle of the night for us. Kick off 11:30, ends at 4 a.m.
Oh, right.
So for the European audiences, surely you... And I get they're not going to move it all for Europe, because why would you? It's an American sport. But if you want to grow it, which is getting a lot bigger over here, surely do it on a Saturday. Then people can stay up all night and it doesn't matter the same. So you don't have to change the kickoff time, just bring it a day earlier.
Yeah, Americans alike. They don't seem to give a shit, do they?
Well, no, because it's their sport. And I get that. We wouldn't move the FA Cup final to match America, although actually we probably would.
They probably would. Yeah.
Well, we probably would, because
I think we're only a matter of time away before there's a game in the middle of the night for some no apparent reason.
Well, there will be, because they're going to take it somewhere. I mean, NFL's now going to the land down under as of 26.
Ireland this year, isn't it, as well?
Ireland, yeah, and then 26, 27, it's coming to Melbourne, Australia.
That'll be all right for us Aussies.
Well, it will for you, yeah, but the rest of the world won't know when and how it's on or how to...
You'll all know how I feel every day when I wake up. I mean, to be fair, the total surprise yesterday when I got a notification on my phone said that the Man United team was out.
Yes.
You played in the middle of the night. I woke up, I thought, Man United team's out. When are Man United playing? And we played
the FA Cup last night.
4 a.m. this morning. I thought it was Saturday we played. It wasn't. It's Friday
night. Well, technically was. 4 a.m. is Saturday, but, And you were horrendous for the first 60 minutes.
Well, yeah, until Garnacho came on. We were... we've been shocking.
You've been shocking. But last night, you had quite a lot of the ball early on. And do you know the only thought that came to mind the whole time watching it? This looks like Southgate's England. It's slow. There's a lot of the ball. It's all passing. It's passing it across the back. Maguire to Yolo, whatever he's called, back to your goalkeeper.
How many passes do we make from the midfield back to the defence?
That's what I mean. It's Southgate and England all over again. And it was like, this is
so many backwards passes.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. And the crowd yesterday getting on. They got on at Manu a couple of times for playing a couple backwards. A couple of times it went wide, and then it came back into Maguire and came back into Yoro. So many negative passes. But it goes back years, we've been playing this way now for probably since Van Gaal was around. And drilled into us a certain way of playing. It's just such a negative approach. It seems to be the only person that seems to always try and play forward at the minute is Bruno.
Yeah.
I think that's why he's tried to play him deeper, which for me doesn't work. It's not worked at all. But that's why he's playing him there, to try and get that forward pass from a deeper position. But yeah, it was so negative.
It just looks so bad to watch. I mean, I don't know if you picked what caught the League Cup semi-finals during the week, so the Arsenal-Newcastle game.
No, I don't get them. Well, I do get them, but I don't get them.
Newcastle came out to that game high tempo, high pressing, high intensity, playing at a real pace. And not only was it entertaining to watch, it was actually effective. Yeah, they could have given away a few chances at the back, but they just looked like something could always happen. Whereas watching Man United at the minute and you think nothing's going to happen. I wonder if his tactic is, if I bore the opposition to death, eventually they'll just let me score.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on. This was going on under Ten Hag as well. This is not just Amarin. This is United as we are now. But it wouldn't be so bad if we were rock solid at the back and we were boring. But we don't not only create anything, we look so open to conceding every time somebody breaks on us. Yesterday these games, you can tell what game you're going to get from Man United for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all you need. And that tells you exactly how United are going to go. And you could tell straight away, after 10 minutes, this is going to be a long night. And you just know that Leicester are going to score first. You just sit there knowing, you just think the first team scoring this game is 100% going to be Leicester.
Yeah, because you just didn't even look threatening.
You just keep looking at it and thinking, the only team that's... And I looked at the game, and we must have been about 35 minutes in. I thought, at least we'll go through, because Leicester looked totally toothless and totally void of any ability. And I thought, we will get through this. I'm pretty sure we will get through this. I just can't see how. I'm trying to think in my head, how are we going to get through this tie? But Leicester didn't look capable of scoring. And then went and scored. And I thought, well, now we could actually be fucked here, couldn't we? Because you always feel with Man United, they have still got a certain class of player that can score you a goal and get you out of trouble, which is what happened in the end. Well, that and the fact that VAR's not there. But when Leicester scored, I suddenly thought, have we got 2 goals in us? Can I pick 2 people out on that pitch that can score me a goal? And I'm not sure I could.
I think the concerning bit last night was your players that have even looked decent throughout the season. So Ahmad, everybody can have an off day, I get that, but it looks like you're doing it again. You found a half decent player and you're grinding him down to the point of it doesn't look good.
I don't know whether we just coach them out of their abilities or we overcoach them into a different style, or whether the other teams have just realised that realistically we've only got Ahmad, and if they just stick 2 players on him, then they nullify any threat we've got. It looks so disjointed at the minute. I mean, I've said 1,000 times, I don't know what was the point in getting rid of Ten Hag when we got rid of him? Because what's it changed?
Nothing.
What has changed since the first week of November to now? And I don't blame them, a new manager, because we have a game every 3 days, and that's just football. I'm not moaning about it. That's just tough shit. So you don't get much time on the training pitch. That's football. That's, that's not changed. That's been like it has been for 10, 15 years. So why did we change his manager when we did? They know this. What was the point?
It's like we said,
we're another club that's changed his manager partway through a season and achieved absolutely nothing except for debt. It's
like we said, I think, probably 3 episodes now ago, which was 7 years ago because of how much you've missed, that you've changed everything, but nothing's changed. Backroom staff's changed, boards changed, managers have changed, some players have changed, but yet it's the same old, just meh. There's nothing there. There's no...
keep changing, don't you? You can't keep changing. See, Solskjaer bought players that he wanted to play. And Solskjaer played a very counter-attacking style football. We're always at his best. And I think we've been at his best more recently with counter-attack. And then Ten Hag comes in and he wanted to play a different type of sort of pressing game where you win the ball in certain areas of the pitch and then you pounce on the opposition from sort of a deeper position. Amarin wants to play a high pressing game, more of a Pep style football. But we've still got players that played under Van Gaal, I believe.
Well, Phil Jones is probably knocking about somewhere.
I mean, Lindelof's still there. Luke Shaw's still there.
Oh, stop. Luke Shaw's injured again.
He's injured again for the 4 weeks. Diogo Dalot's been there a long time. I mean, he went out on loan to Milan, ready to leave, and then has come back and he's playing again. I mean, he was horrendous yesterday. Absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
We've got so many players. I mean, there'll be more if I go. I mean, Bruno's been there quite a while now, hasn't he? He'll seen a few managers off. But there's players there that were probably there when Van Gaal were there, if not Mourinho anyway. Definitely Mourinho, because I know Lindelof played under Mourinho. So we're going back sort of 4 managers, and we've still got the same players from that time. I think what an array of players we've got. So we've got some of Mourinho's players, we've got some of Solskjaer's players, we've got a lot of Ten Hag's players, and we've now got some of Amarin's players. So we've got 4, maybe even 5 managers, players across our team. How can that be? How can you mould a style of play from 5 managers, different players?
Well, I think if I look at you recently, I mean, if I look back at Ten Hag's time, yes, he won a couple of trophies, but I couldn't tell you what his style of football was. I still don't know to this day what his plan was, what his system was, what he was. I couldn't tell you what he went into a game hoping to do.
I think it was Wayne Rooney who said he's the best manager I played under after Fergie. He loved playing for Van Gaal. But Van Gaal was very...
Ten Hag I'm talking about this time.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Van Gaal.
I never understood what Ten Hag's system was, what his style of play was, when he put them players on the pitch, what was the instruction? Because it all just seemed.
Well, if you watch anything that Ajax did, and I only watched because of him, it was almost like you set traps for them. So you don't push them, you don't press them right against their own box. You fall off them to a certain level, and then you set traps for them so that you funnel them into a certain area of the pitch. And once it goes into that pitch, you then press them and you win the ball back. So you win the ball back sort of midway between defending and attacking. He just never, whether he never got that across to them or whether the players weren't capable of doing it, I don't know. But it just never worked, did it?
I say if that was his style of play, probably should have told somebody.
Well, it just never seemed to happen, did it?
No.
So I don't know. It's we'll see. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if it's a total change, isn't it? Now we're sort of 5 people. We're at 5 at back. We're in a total different style in the middle of a season. It's just chaos.
Well, it is chaos. But then you look at, I mean, if I go back to the League Cup in midweek, so Arteta's lost another semi-final. That's now, if the Premier League goes, we expect to another 5 years without a trophy. He's spent a lot of money. He's brought in all his players that he wants. He's put in a goalkeeper that he got rid of Ramsdale for. And again, on Wednesday night, that man nearly gave me an aneurysm. So you haven't seen the game. Raya decides to play a pass out into to the edge of his own 18-yard box, middle of the pitch, with his defender with his back to play. Guess what happens?
It goes wrong.
They lose the ball and Newcastle score.
Oh, did they score? Oh, yeah, I have seen this, yeah. I have seen the goals.
I know I've said this now for nearly 20 weeks, but I can't keep watching goalkeepers do this.
Don't change, do they?
But I get playing out from the back, and I know we keep talking about it, but at least if you're playing it sideways, you've got less danger. He played it into the middle of his own goal. And the guy receiving the ball
play into a player who's got his back to the entire field as well. Yeah.
And
you've got to be a certain type of player to be any good at that. The only person I've watched that was really, really good at that, I can think of, was Paul Scholes.
Pirlo.
I can't think of many other people that could receive the ball with the back to the entire field and know what to do with it. Most of them shit themselves.
Yeah.
And cause a total disaster.
The defender didn't even get time to do anything. Look, as soon as the ball came to him, Newcastle player were on because they'd pressed really high all game. And this is the other bit I struggle with professional footballers. So from minute 1, Newcastle had pressed high, massive intensity, chasing every ball every time. And this has happened throughout the game. We get partway into the second half, and Ray has not realised that Newcastle are pressing high and plays it to a player with his back to the play. And Newcastle are on him because they've been doing it the whole game. And instantly, they take the ball off him and they score. It's like, well, how have you not seen, after 55, 60 minutes, what's happening in this game? And yes, your manager might want you to play out from the back, but you've got to have the intelligence as a professional, and the understanding of reading a football game that this isn't working. You've got to be able to understand what's coming at you, and they didn't, and they just passed the ball into the middle of the goal, and Newcastle went, "Thanks very much, that's a goal," and we win. It's just stupid, utterly mind blowing.
And it's week after week, and it's always somebody doing it. The thing is, it seems
crazy.
to be spreading because it seems to be the way people want to play, or the perceived way people want to play. So everyone's now trying it, and 99% of them aren't good enough to do it.
I just can't wait for the first manager to go, "You know what? I'm not going to do this because it doesn't work." He will be a genius.
But will they?
Somebody's got to, because this is.
I mean, it doesn't take a genius to suddenly think, well, if I just pump it long down a channel, I've avoided the whole problem here, haven't I? They can't press me.
They can't score.
The ball's 15 yards from their goal.
Exactly.
And they're not going to score from there neither.
No. Or if they do, there's a lot happened between them getting the ball and them scoring. There's quite a lot of play that's happened, not just you've given them the ball on your 6-yard line and they've scored.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, it's quite ironic that Isak had a great game against Arsenal after I've been championing for Arsenal to buy Isak for all this time.
Yeah, he was very good. They couldn't live with him.
He's now knocked them out of possible the only. I mean, the only cups they're back in now is the Champions League and the Premier League, and they're not winning. I mean, they don't win European cups, do they, Arsenal? I don't think they've ever won one. So, and I just don't see them beating Liverpool to the Premier League.
I think they've still got a shot in the Premier League. I really still do. I think they're unbeaten now, something like 12, 13 games potentially, something like that. So they're still in there. If Liverpool have 2 bad results, Arsenal are right back in the hunt for that. The problem I have with Arsenal is
Arsenal have got to almost go unbeaten now, haven't they?
And if they get back in it, do they just bottle it again? They bottled it 2 seasons ago.
Well, they tend to.
They got close-ish last season, but you couldn't really say they bottled that, although they were top for a while. And his squad of players and his mentality, there seems to be an issue in the big games for them. They beat Man City 5-1 last weekend. Fine. Great. But it's a game where Man City are out of the league, Arsenal are trailing, so the pressure's less on. It's when they get close, it just seems to get to them.
Yeah.
Prime example, playing Man United.
What has Arteta achieved other than making everyone happy? Supposedly happy. I don't know why they're happy, but putting a smile on everyone's face. He's
done as much as Southgate's done, let's be honest.
Yeah, he has.
He's improved them. He's taken them to a level. He's got them further than what they've done before, but then we seem to have hit a ceiling or a roadblock or something that says, can he take them any further? If he wins one, maybe that opens the floodgates and they go on and he becomes successful. But we're now 5 years. And at what point do we
The only thing he won was the FA Cup
with Emery. And so at what point do Arsenal as a football club look at it and go, yes, he's taken us forward. Yes, he's done, he's done things. But when does his job become under threat?
I don't think Arsenal will they? It seems to be the Arsenal way now that they're just. This all started under Wenger when he started to celebrate the top 4. This mentality started when Wenger went from being a manager that challenged for the Premier League and the FA Cup on a regular basis to a manager that started to champion, finishing in the top 4.
And he nearly won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Got to the final.
At Barcelona, that beat him.
Yeah, they got the man sent off early.
To the point where he was then champion in top 4 as an achievement. And that it all started then, and they've never recovered from that. They've never gone back to the heights of the late 90s, early and mid to late 90s when they were a force to be reckoned with, and they actually won things left and right. They don't win anything anymore, other than there'll be the odd draw. I mean, how many teams? I mean, Leicester have won more than them in the last 10 years, I would say. Leicester have won a league.
They've won a Premier League and an FA Cup.
But for all the failings of Man United, we've still won trophies over the last decade. We've won the Europa League, we've won a League Cup, we've won an FA, we've won 2 League Cups, we've won 2 FA Cups in the last 10 years. There's still trophies there, and we're an atrocious side. Arsenal are meant to be one of the best sides around, but they don't win anything. So what's the point?
Exactly, and this is the point I'm making. There's got to be a cut-off point where you say the Arteta process, experiment, whatever you want to call it, is now a failure.
Yeah, a bit like
he's got another year.
I think he's got more about him than Southgate, but
absolutely,
he's in the same bracket as him. He's got a ceiling to his ability, it would seem, and he's reached it.
I mean, I get there's only 4 trophies a year you can win, so the majority of teams are not going to win anything. But when you've been as close as Arsenal have for the last 4 years now, and still,
That's
it's always
16 trophies that had a chance to win.
yeah. And at least 2 of them, well, one, they've certainly bottled the Premier League in 22-23. I mean, that was theirs, and then they came to January and went, we can't win a football match.
Yeah.
But that's, so, but then you look at moving on from Arsenal, but yet a very similar conversation. When does Ange lose his job at Spurs now? That's becoming untenable, surely.
It is. But as I said, whenever I was last on here, because I've had quite a few breaks,
June.
What do they achieve by swapping the manager again? What you go back through Tottenham's last 5 managers and tell me what swapping any of them has achieved for Tottenham?
True, but they're at the point whereas if they don't, they could get relegated.
They could, but they won't, will they? There's too many. I mean, I've watched
Southampton exist,
and because they exist, they won't go down. And again, we're looking at who are his players. He's got that super fast centre half that he bought because he plays a high line who can only play so many games a season because his hamstrings are made out of paper. I mean, they've got some pretty. I mean, that Richarlison the other day. I mean, everyone's going on about Van Dijk assaulting Richarlison. I mean, he goes down like a sack of shit, doesn't it? Absolutely.
He's pathetic.
I know. He's throwing the back of an arm at him. It's football. Get on with it.
It was pathetic. He's just literally throwing himself to the floor.
I mean, it weren't him that went down when that kid put his hand in his face. It Wolves player or someone.
Yeah.
When he went down like he'd been harpooned by a whale gun. I mean, they've got some pretty dire players on there,
Yeah, they do.
But if you're Tottenham, all sacking a manager does is cost you a payout on a manager, a new manager that you recruit all the new staff, you pay off all the old staff, and then he comes in and says, I want 100 million this summer to buy X, Y, and Z. I want you to sell these players that he's bought because they're not my players, so you lose another 100 million in transfers on value sold there. And what do they ever achieve by changing manager?
True.
Since the other guy left.
There's been that many. Which one?
The one that actually got them into the top 4 in Champions League. What the frick are they called? Pochettino. Since he left, what have they achieved by changing manager? Absolutely nothing.
No,
it's almost like a shot in the dark every time, isn't it? These teams continue, and it's almost like they're thinking we might just get it right one time. I mean, how do you run a football club by we might get it right? The way to get it right is to keep the people at the top in charge and change the people on the pitch and make sure you're picking the right players. Stop changing your manager and make sure you get your recruitment right. Change the people that are making the recruitment decisions. They're the people that are fucking up, not the guy, the manager all the time. It's always the manager's fault, yet no one ever blames the players, yet the same 11 players play for the next manager, and guess what? They're just as fucking bad. And you see it time and time again. I've watched it at United over the last 12 years. Every club you go to, and you look at Arsenal and how bad they were after Wenger left. You know what they did under Arteta? They backed the manager and they got rid of all the players that were causing a problem. That's the only reason they turned it round.
Yeah, true.
They got rid of it. At the time when they got rid of Aubameyang, everyone's looking at it thinking, how can you get rid of him? He scores goals for fun. He's a brilliant striker. But that's what they had to do. You've got to back your man. And if he says that, I mean, there's stories coming out of Man United about players that have been there since Mourinho were there. They said what was the guy called who was the Austria manager? I can never remember his name. He told them who to get rid of.
Rangnick.
And what they did is they got rid of Rangnick. And what's that served as a purpose for Man United? And to this day, still stands there. So I told them what to get rid of, and some of them are still there.
Yeah, I mean, you have an abundance of bad players, let's be honest.
But so does Spurs. So do a lot of these sides. Spurs have an abundance because they've got players from 3-4 managers ago, haven't they?
Yeah, true.
Again, they've accrued a team of players. Unless you can put a team out that's got all the players for the manager you've currently got in, you're always going to have a problem, aren't you? Because he's always going to have 3 or 4 players that he doesn't want there that don't do what he wants them to do. So stop changing your manager and get your recruitment right. And then maybe you've got a chance of winning something.
Potentially. But speaking of changing things to make things better, we claim to be good at fixing the world of sport, myself and you. We never have done, but we like to think we can. VAR wasn't used or isn't used in the first 4 rounds of the FA Cup for reasons that I don't fully understand and never will.
Is this a new thing, or has VAR never been used in the first 4 rounds of FA Cup? 'Cause I'm sure it was there.
I feel like it was from the third round onwards last year when the Premier League teams came in, but now they've moved it back.
Big grounds had it, and then when you went to the other grounds, they didn't have it. Sure, that's what it was, wasn't it?
Something like that. But we both advocate for the getting rid of VAR because it's horrendous and it's broken and the people doing it are all stupid.
Yep.
But then you end up with a decision like last night that has knocked Leicester, who did all right, out of the FA Cup for a blatant offside. So if we say we don't want VAR,
a difficult decision, was it?
what is the solution to this problem?
Well, VAR can be sorted quite easily.
Let us do it.
Yeah. No, but VAR needs to be used on things that are cut and dry. So that's offside. It's not an opinion by anyone. There's no opinion, is there? The problem with VAR is it looks at an incident, the referee gives a decision, and VAR then looks at the incident and gives you 2 other people's opinion, or sat in a nice, warm, cozy room, nowhere near the game, and they give you their opinion on it. Well, to me, so if you put 5 people in a room, you might get 5 different opinions. You put 10, you probably get 10 different opinions, or you might get 5 different opinions of 2 people. Well, if it's an opinion, we're never going to fix it. So stop using VAR for anything that's subjective. Offside is, as far as I can tell, should be clear cut.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're ahead of the ball when it's passed, you're offside. So use VAR to say, was he ahead of the ball when he kicked it? Yes. Right. Forget all this interfering with fucking eye lines and shadows and shit. Was he ahead of the ball or between the defender and the goalkeeper when he kicked it? Is he offside? Yes. Right. That's it. Offside. Simple.
I mean, speaking of the interfering with, did you see the Aston Villa Wolves one last week?
I know.
He runs across the defender and that. I'm like, oh, I just can't do this.
It's just infuriating, isn't it? Just
Because
use VAR for everything that's cut and dry, and everything else, you may as well just
basically
let
use it like goal line technology because that is a direct line.
Because all we're doing is the referee makes a decision, and somebody else upstairs says, "Well, I don't think it's that." Well, you're not paid to think. You're paid to use a machine. Shut up. It just you hear them. I mean, the worst thing VAR ever did is release the audio because it's made it sound even worse. It literally sounds like the referee is scared to do anything, and the 2 people at the top in VAR are running the game.
I quite like the audio though, because I think it gives at least an insight into the mindset of the decision. It was like,
have you ever listened to one and thought, "Oh, well, now I actually believe in VAR"? All it ever does to me is make me think, "Well, now there's 3 idiots making a decision rather than 1."
I mean, the one last week was Anthony Taylor in the Man City game, Arsenal game. He announced on, no, that can't be right. It must have been the League Cup.
Somebody speaking like the rugby.
Yeah, so the League Cup, when Newcastle scored on Wednesday, they overruled it for offside and he announced it on the pitch. I quite like that because it does away with the ambiguity in the stadium for teams like United that don't have a big screen, for instance.
Well, just for anybody, because even when you watch it on TV, most of the time, you don't know what they're fucking reviewing. You're listening to a commentator. I mean, I had Andy Townsend commentating the other day, and I'm sure he was watching a different game to me.
Usually
it'd have been little help to me telling me what VAR review, because I don't think he'd have known.
But yeah, there's got to be. We've tried technology. The technology itself is fine, but whenever you've got people using the technology, there's going to be a problem, isn't there?
Yeah, because they're just giving you an opinion.
I think we need to go to automated offsides.
You can only bring technology in for things that are cut and dry. Goal line technology, offside technology. Yeah. Everything else, you can watch it from 1,000 different angles and get 200 different opinions. So what's the point?
Exactly.
Take the opinion of the guy you've paid and employed on the pitch to give you the opinion. And if you need VAR, as I've said before, it should be there for the referee to use as a point of reference, not for 2 guys to ring the referee up and say, you might need to change your decision. You might need to look at this. You might need to look at that. You tell the referee that unless he's 100% certain that his decision is right, to use the technology that's there. Go and check. Yeah, it's quite simple when the ball goes out to have the pack on and say, stopping play, I need to go and check for potential handball. I'm going to go and look. Don't have anyone talking to him. And he just goes over and says, can you show me this incident in the box, blah, blah, blah. I want to see it again. He has a look and he carries on the game.
Yeah.
Rather than two other people ringing him up and saying, potential handball check going on here. You might need to go and look at it again. Well, then he's got to go, hasn't he? Because otherwise he's going to look totally stupid if he's wrong. You're putting him in a position where he can't do anything else. He can't stand by his decision until he's looked at it. And then when he goes over to look at it, he's going to change his mind because he's got two people telling him
he's wrong
information that he doesn't need from a different angle at a different speed. When they've watched it 13 times over, everything looks worse.
Yeah, well, it's one thing I've always said with VAR, they should watch them all at full speed. They shouldn't be slowing them down.
And you should watch it once.
Yeah.
Watch it once and make your decision. The referee has to make a decision in a split second on the pitch. So he should be sent over to it and he should be able to watch it again. And if he can't make his mind up there, then he sticks with what he obviously decided.
Yeah, because if it's not obvious that there's something wrong.
Oh, I can show you footage or something. If I keep talking over the back of it, you'll probably believe what I'm seeing, even though you're probably seeing something different because somebody keeps telling you something. That's how you are. You take in that information. You think, oh, yeah, I can see it from your point of view now. Well, we don't want him to see it from their point of view. We want him to referee the game.
And we don't want
help him.
We don't want him to see it from any point of view. We want him to look at what has actually happened. We don't want opinion. Look at the image. What the incident is.
You referee the game, and if you think, right, I didn't see it, or a player's gone down there, I was watching something else, go and have a look. That's fine. But we don't need two other people giving their opinion on the game and re-refereeing at every incident. It's just getting stupid now. I mean, literally, the lit penalty of the week when Tenag was still there against West Ham was pathetic. Or the penalty the other day. Oh, the ones with the
heading.
The one where
Gabriel
the player head butted or clashed heads, and then they had a riot the other day because we're at Liverpool that didn't get one, or Arsenal didn't get one for the same incident.
Yeah, it's all getting a bit silly.
And I'm like, but the commentator had been taken in by the first one, saying, "Well, the Brighton one was a penalty, so this one definitely is." I'm like, the Brighton one wasn't a penalty. They just fucking went to hit the ball and banged heads. Who's ever given a penalty away for a clash of heads?
It's
so it's like the commentator took it all in and he's like, well, that's a penalty, so this is a penalty. And I'm like, but neither were a fucking penalty. What are we doing?
But I suppose the problem you then get is, though, when you've given one is and one isn't, you then go, well, what is the right decision? We know what the right decision is, but from an internal review standpoint of, well, we've got to say one's wrong now.
I mean, but they've looked at it over and over again, slowed it down. Oh, it's a penalty. And I think, well, it weren't a penalty when you watched it. You know, if I need to watch it that closely, it's not a penalty, is it?
No, if you've got to watch it 20 times from 14 angles at super slow motion.
I mean, they said it had to be clear and obvious. If it was clear and obvious, it would be clear.
And it would be obvious.
Wouldn't it? I mean, and it's not.
It was quite funny because they've always said that the clear and obvious wording's an issue because it's, it's ambiguous. It's not. It's really not. It's clear. It's obvious.
Do you look at it and go, oh, shit, yeah, I didn't realise he'd body slammed him. Clotheslined him. Like, who did that clothesline the month? I didn't realise it was like that. But it's not, is it? We're nitpicking at little things. And we're saying, did he get a touch on the ball before his knee clashed? And it's like, who cares? Just get on with the game. We've gone from sitting on a Monday morning slagging off the referee for missing a decision to sitting on a Monday morning slagging VAR off for fucking decisions. Oh, we've got no better.
And now we don't even understand the decisions.
And we don't understand why there were decisions made, who made the decision, and what rules we're working on. I mean, it's all this about, they've been told to be more lenient. A foul's a foul. Yeah. If you foul him on the halfway line or you foul him in the penalty box, why can't we not just have the same fucking rule?
I've never understood this one, and it's done my head in for years. Why does it matter
where you are on the pitch?
The amount of games where you're watching the commentator will say, anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. Then guess what?
Well, it's a fucking foul. It's not difficult, isn't it? I mean, I'm relatively stupid, and even I can pick up on this, that if it's a foul in the centre circle, it's a foul. I mean, they'll say, well, it's not a red card because how far away from goal. Oh, so if it's 50 yards that way, it's a red card. Well, send him off then. It's a red card. He's done the same thing.
Or this one, they'll say there needs to be a higher threshold for penalties. No, there doesn't. A foul is a foul.
A foul's a foul, yeah. If it was a free kick 35 yards from goal, it's a free kick 12 yards from goal. I've thought fucking penalty spotted. Then Yeah, that's it. Clear. Let's just make it quite
Clear
clear.
and obvious.
Yeah, it just winds you up. But he's like literally. I mean, the commentators are not new to this. They commentate on thousands of games, and even when they say stuff, I just think, "Is this your first match? Are you that stupid?" It's like they're inciting people on purpose, aren't they? I mean, I know I do get some pretty bad commentary over it. I usually get Michael Owen or Andy Townsend or Robbie Savage or something. But
You did make a very good segue unintentionally there, inciting people. Have you seen the new FA directive? They're going the way of the FIA.
What, are we not allowed to swear?
No. The FA sanctions may now be handed out to players for celebrations that are damaging to the game or mock the opposition.
I mean, the celebration's not all about mocking the opposition.
I don't know. I give up. So, did you see it might be 2 weeks ago now, the Brighton game, Everton scored a penalty and he ran away celebrating, like flapping like a bird. He got booked for that and has been fined for it, for inciting the opposition.
What was the incitement?
He flapped his arms like a bird.
And that's...
I don't know. Because Brighton have a bird for their
seagulls
badge.
The gulls, see? Are they called the seagulls?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But I'm not quite sure how that offends anybody.
Right. I mean, I would go into the point where I'm thinking, can we stop booking people for taking the shirt off? Because at what point is that offending anyone now?
Oh,
yeah. Most players walk onto the pitch without the shirt on.
Most subs are not dressed at all. They've just got a frack.
Get off the subs bench, stand aside on a step, probably 10 foot higher than the pitch, with a shirt off. And yet, when they take the shirt off to celebrate, they get a yellow card. So, how does that work?
I don't know, but yes, now for damaging I don't know how you can damage the game unless you do something, a racist salute, or something like that. But
you don't need a rule for that. That's once again
common sense.
Yeah, that's a law in life. You can't, go around doing Nazi salutes to people because that's not allowed. Don't do it on a football pitch either.
You can't mock the opposition now. I mean, it's like we said last week. It's school playground stuff, isn't it? It's just.
I mean, that's what football's always been about, isn't it? Celebrating in front of away fans.
I mean, Adebayor once ran the length of the pitch.
Gary Neville did. Old Trafford, didn't he? Kiss it back in front of Liverpool fans. I mean, but how many people have done that? Thousands of people have done that.
Yeah, but now it's not going to be allowed. You're going to be sanctioned.
You can't go into the crowd and start, riling up the away fans. But that's been football for years. I don't understand what the rule's going to change. Again, it's one of these rules, isn't it? That are people actually going to... I mean, there's going to be some point soon where you're not allowed to celebrate a goal, isn't there? It'll go in, VAR will check it, the referee will blow his whistle, and you'll walk back to the centre circle and carry on. It but like a goal at like when they score a basket in basketball, won't it? Everyone just turn around and carry on. Unless it's like a worldie, you'll just high five and crack on.
Yeah, because you'll not be allowed, because otherwise you're going to get banned.
It's just becoming stupid. We're not allowed to tackle each other. We're not allowed to celebrate. It's like, oh no. Yeah, it's totally ruined, hasn't it?
Our podcast might not last many, many years because sport won't last much longer at this rate because everybody's just going to get fed up with it and stop doing it.
It's just, I don't get it. Has Gerrard been sacked from...
He's left by mutual consent of somewhere in Saudi Arabia, hasn't he?
So he's been sacked?
Yes. I don't even know what the club was.
Again, I mean,
did it again.
Is he not another manager that's just not a manager? He's only a manager because he's Steven Gerrard?
He's in the same group. But
I mean, Wayne Rooney was on a podcast the other day saying he's going to have another job. I mean, unless it's at Asda, why is anyone employing him?
Saudi Arabian football, Duran has gone out there, hasn't he? The 21-year-old.
For him, like 70 million quid or something.
And now he's gone out there and he said, people are saying it's for money. It is. But it's not. I'm looking after my family with money. But it's a great league and people don't know what they're talking about.
I know.
So I did a bit of research. One of the clubs that plays out there, I can't remember which one, they all start with Al, and it's Al Wahid. There we go. They have an average attendance of 700 people.
700?
Their last game had an attendance of 104.
I mean,
more people people in Tesco.
I'm going to watch some local football tomorrow. There'll be more than 104 people there. That's semi-professional in Australia. I mean, they don't even play football in Australia.
No, but yet he's going out there because there's some.
We've said this all. I mean, why don't they just come out and say, I'm going out there because they're paying me £60 million a year?
Exactly.
And you'd all go, fair dues, mate. I'd go for 60 million a year.
Exactly.
Not a problem.
I don't understand the principle of trying to hide it because everybody looks at it and goes, "You're lying." Nobody believes you.
You know, they're fighting in where did Riyadh? I mean, Riyadh's become the centre of the world for boxing. They're all going, yeah, we're going out there to raise the level of the sport. No, you're not. You're going because it's paying you £100 million.
Exactly.
If someone said to you, "Come to Riyadh and fight for $1 million to raise the level of the sport," or go and fight in America for 40 million, you'd go to America for 40
Of course
million.
you are.
Yeah. The only people, again, that believe this crap is the people that are saying it.
But
everyone else sits there and goes, Duran's gone for the money.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's gone for the money.
Yeah.
Beckham went out to America for the money because he's given a franchise. Now he's making a shitload of money from it. They didn't go for any other reason. Raise the profile of the game.
They don't care. Literally don't.
We're going to stop watching the Premier League and start watching Al Hilal against some other team that's got 15 fans. I mean, it's not going to happen. They tried to do that here by signing Robbie Fowler and Dwight York, and they've just signed Juan Mata. I've never seen football so bad in my life. It's horrendous. It's like watching Sunday League under 12s, mate. It's crap. Right? Anyone comes out here for any other reason than the lifestyle, and Juan Mata said, yeah, he loves it out here. He loves living out here. Never said, I've come out here for the project, or I've come out here to raise the profile of the game. Because he's got here and he's played and thought, this was absolutely turgid, this, isn't it? But it's sunny all the time and I'm near the beach, so I'm all right.
It's warm and I'm getting paid well, so I don't care.
Yeah, which is fine. But if they come out, even if they go to these places and say, oh, I've gone for the project. I've gone, in 10 years' time. Well, you'll not be there in 10 years' time, mate, so shut up for a start. And, I mean, I saw the list of Ronaldo's on $3 million a week.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just ridiculous.
I mean, there's some players that are getting paid money out there. I mean, that Oscar went to China, didn't he? Just retired last season.
He got a lot of money.
He's earned some stupid money by not being very good.
And funnily enough, has he raised the profile of the game in China?
No, I mean, I would argue totally the opposite. I knew more about Chinese football on the day he signed for the Chinese team than I do now he's left. How is he still there? Someone's still paying him to play out there.
And with all the stars that have gone out to Saudi Arabia, how many Saudi Arabian games have you now watched? None?
No.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I make a habit of, if it's on the TV, of smashing my TV up. I'd rather pay for a new TV than watch that crap. And
it's like we've both got the same opinion. Just say you've gone for the money. Fine. It's a short career. You've got 12 years to make as much money as you can to live the rest of your life. Just say that.
This is across the board, isn't it? I mean, we're not just talking about, I'm going to start when players move and they always come out with this rubbish. And it's like, you've gone because they're paying you 200 grand a week. So would I. So would anyone else.
It's a job.
Right?
Yeah.
People say, oh, how can you sign for Tottenham when you used to play for Arsenal? Because they're paying me 150 grand a week, mate. I don't give a shit what I used to play for. Right? Pay me 150 grand a week. I'll go and play for Man City. Not a problem. Right? I love supporting Man United, but I'll go and play for City for 100 grand a week. Not a problem at all. You don't have to. I won't sugarcoat it. I'll go. It's not an issue. 50. I like Jamie Carragher, a huge Everton fan. He's not going to not play for Liverpool, is he?
No.
Of course he's not. You'd have to be mental. And Gary Neville's there saying I couldn't play for any other club. Piss off. If they'd offered you an extra £1 million a year, you would have been playing for him, mate.
Yeah, and I just think we need to drop this facade in football of the reasons why people move. It's a career. My job that I do, if somebody offered me 4 times the amount of money to do it, I'd go and do it somewhere else because they're offering me 4 times the amount of money.
You wouldn't have to ask me twice.
No.
And I'll pay for my own flights. Not a problem. I don't want to quadruple my wages. You just name the place. I'm there.
Exactly. So if we can all say in our walk of life, why do footballers think they have to go, there's a good project here or the future of the game?
Why did you fly out to America and take that job with blah, blah, blah? I went for the project, raise the profile of the company. No. You went because I've been 250 grand a year, mate, haven't you?
Yeah. It's just crazy.
I mean, they all think we're as stupid as they are, don't they?
Yeah. Because, I mean, every one of it's like they've all got a predetermined statement that is said by every footballer that moves to any club for any mortar money. It's a great project. I see the future. It's a
But they've
great
all got
league.
social media agents, haven't they, that run the social media for him? I mean, do they not look at what they're about to post and think, yeah, I don't believe this myself? Should I really post this? I mean, there becomes a point where you think, am I just doing this for the sake of it?
He's doing it to get him paid.
I mean, isn't he flying 500 kilometers a day to live in Bahrain?
Yeah, so he's gonna. I think he said he's got an hour and a half flight every morning to training.
I mean, affording it alone would be impossible for anyone else, wouldn't it?
I'm guessing they'll
get
pay
an
for
airplane twice a day. I mean, how many air miles is he going to get? Get a free holiday in Bali before he's done this season, won't he? I mean, what's going on? I take it that Saudi Arabian football is not aiming to be net zero by 2030.
No, they're just aiming to have the World Cup and rule the world.
But they'll get it because they'll pay for it, which is fine.
They've already got it.
Again, why don't they just come out and say, yeah, we got the World Cup because we paid for it? We all know that they did. Everyone that watches it knows they only got it because they got more money than God.
Everybody else.
But the only people that won't admit it are the people who gave it them and the people who bought it. It's just mental, isn't it?
So I mean, buying a car but not admitting I bought it.
I mean, for the richest people on the planet, which they all seem to be, they're all pretty stupid, aren't they?
Yeah, because they all just want to come. If we keep telling all these lies, somebody will believe them somewhere, or they hope they do.
Has he said out recently?
No, he's been pretty quiet this week.
Has he? I mean,
yeah.
When are 2 weeks to practice? Is it?
So we are now a week on. A week on Tuesday is launch day. In London.
Yeah, I'm not there for that.
And then a week after that is winter testing, and then 2 weeks after that we are at the first race in Australia. And since you brought up Formula One, let's do it right here, right now. The 2025 season predictions. I want your drivers' champion, and I want your constructors' champions. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Hell, I'm not sure I know 3 drivers. Right, I've got to go out there, Anna. After Dallas Cowboys let me down.
Don't pick them in this; they're not in it.
Right, Dallas Cowboys will be first. Who am I going to go for? Constructors. Can Red Bull lose it? Yeah, they can. I'm going to McLaren constructor. Red Bull second. Ferrari third.
Okay, then. So now just drivers.
See, I wanted to go Hamilton to win it, but having put them third, I can't really do that. Yeah, well, they got to do something out there, and I can't just pick the ones that everyone's going to pick, otherwise it's never going to be any fun. Right, so because if Hamilton wins it, they can't finish third. So
they can because Red Bull just did.
Did they?
Yeah, but Leclerc isn't Perez.
Leclerc can't be as bad as Perez. I mean, Jesus Christ, you and I
can't be as bad as Perez.
Right, so I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go Lando to win it. Then Lando wins it. Hamilton second, Max third.
Okay, I mean, it's bold. I'll give you that.
Well, it's out there, isn't it? It's we've gone for it.
It's something.
I wonder what odds I get on that. I bet.
I'm going to be less out there, and I'm going to put some logic and reasoning behind what I'm going to say.
You sound like VAR now.
Well, no, because if that was them, I'd ask you to recheck what you've just done.
Well, I would do it if I were you. Can we get lines on that and draw some lines on it?
I think, unfortunately, Max is still the best driver on the grid, and he wins it. I don't buy into this narrative that he had such a bad car last year. He didn't have a bad car last year. The car wasn't just dominant, but he was.
We can fall out if you want. It's not a problem.
Lando comes second, Charles comes third. I think it's going to be the same top 3 as last year.
What's happened to Lewis? You think in a straight fine, same car, Charles is going to beat Lewis?
Yes, this season.
What?
For many, many reasons. Lewis is basically a pensioner.
Well, so am I.
Exactly. And you're not going to beat Charles Leclerc. So, It's his first year in the team. The car is already built round Charles, or no, it's not built round Charles, but he's ingrained in the team. He understands the car. He's been driving it for 6 years. If Lewis gets even remotely close to Charles this year, it's an achievement. I don't think Charles will trounce him, but I don't see Lewis beating him because I wouldn't expect him to the first year in a car. 26 is where I expect it to be closer. But 25, there's no reason. If Charles doesn't beat Lewis, that ends Charles's career, basically, pretty much. Because you've just been
Formula 2 again.
I mean, you've just been told, you've just proved that when you go up against somebody good, then you can't win. So where does he go from there? Waits for Max to retire, waits for Lewis to retire, waits for Lando to retire, and pick up what's left.
We've said this already, Darren. Charles has kind of proven that already when the chips are down. He's not really.
He was very good last season. He had probably underrated his season last season, but he was very consistent. And at one point, he was close to coming second in the Drivers' Championship in a car that had 7 races in the middle of the season where it basically was a dog when they brought an upgrade that was going to find him 3/4 of a second, and it went backwards.
That's Ferrari.
Yes. Constructors, McLaren. I'm gonna go opposite to you. I'm gonna go McLaren. I'm gonna go Ferrari, and then I'm gonna go Mercedes. And the reason
he's going to win it, and he's going to finish 4th.
Liam Lawson is going to be terrible. They're going to sack him halfway through the season. Yuki Tsunoda will come in, and he will also be terrible.
How can you win the title and finish 4th in the constructors? Sure, that's got to be physically impossible.
Because Max Verstappen will do enough to win the Drivers' Championship, but there's 7 other cars around him, the 6 other cars around him that aren't his teammate, will just be better than them as a team. But I think if he gets 25 for winning and Merck comes second and third, they get 33 points all of a sudden. So they've beaten him straight away. So it's quite easy for him to not.
I think you might have been drinking quite a lot this morning.
I have had quite a lot of coffee. I won't lie.
I think it's
Russell.
Well, it's going to be an interesting season. By the time I get to Singapore, one of us is going to be well out of order.
Or both of us when Aston Martin turn.
If I get there and there's any chance of my predictions being right, I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic.
Or if you get there and any of mine have got a chance of being right, you're going to run on the track.
Yes. I'm going to go and sabotage whichever team is going to be winning.
Yeah, I think Russell will take hold of that team. I think the car will be better than what it's been this year. And I just have more faith in Mercedes' driver lineup than I do in Red Bull's because it's Max and nobody.
I can't wait for your NFL predictions when I throw them at you and at start of next season with this sort of logic. So
Max will be amazing. His teammates will be woeful. And I mean woeful.
So what? Is it March, the first race?
March the 16th.
Oh, it is away yet.
6 weeks.
Might have another holiday before then.
Probably will. At least 1, maybe 2.
So, tomorrow. No, tomorrow? Yeah, NFL tomorrow? We're going tomorrow? Is that the right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not technically tomorrow for you, but it is for the rest of the world.
So it turns out that picking your team based on the weather isn't the best option.
No, that didn't work.
That didn't work. We didn't get the Super Bowl or the playoffs or even the second half of the season, to be fair. We only played in the first half of the season. What logic did you use to pick Philadelphia?
I've been enamoured by the Wrexham story in football. Rob McElhenney is one of the owners there, and he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. There we go. That was the whole logic.
Wow. So, a football club you don't follow.
Yep.
An American that you don't know anything about.
Yep.
And you now support his team. But you've somehow made the Super Bowl.
Exactly. There you go.
I was right. You know, and I said to you the other week that they've been to the Super Bowl. It was 2 or 3 years ago they lost in the final.
Yep, and then won it in 2018.
So they've done all right, to be fair to them. You've picked a team that can actually get to Super Bowls. So, go on then. What happens?
I think the game all comes down to 2 things, if I'm honest. Can Barkley continue to run like he has done all season? And do the referees stop protecting Mahomes to within an inch of his life?
Yeah, well, I was going to address this because the Bills got some pretty dodgy
Awful
calls
decisions
against them,
against
didn't
them.
they?
Yeah.
I mean, that first down that he's got the MVP as well, hasn't he? I never remember his
Josh
name.
Allen.
Josh Allen.
Josh
I would
Allen.
not call him Wilson for some reason. It's not. The other one is.
There is a Wilson in quarterback. He's Steelers, I think.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, the first down that he got. So the way they do it, I believe, is the referees tend to run on the pitch where they believe the ball was.
Yes, they all just run on and hope they're right.
So the guy that runs on, which is probably the one with the best view, runs on as a first down, and then gets to it, and so it's 2 yards this way, so it's not. And I'm like, well, that's a little bit dodgy. And then they review it and they don't give it. I mean, the footage I showed was I mean, I'm far from an expert on it, showed that it was rather inconclusive. So you stay with your on-field decision.
But they didn't make an on-field decision because they all just grouped together.
Well, they have to. That's what I'm saying. When they run on, that's their on-field decision. They've got to place the ball and review it. So they must have given him the first down and then reviewed it and took it away. But I mean, some of the decisions were very pro-Chiefs and against the Bills. It was quite. I mean, the Bills didn't help.
Sure.
They dropped a couple of very easy catches. But
they won right at the end.
Yeah.
He literally, it's in his hand and he falls over and then they're not in his hand.
I mean, if that had been football, you'd have been checking his betting slip, wouldn't you? Because, where were Ivan Toney at the time?
If he turns up playing for Kansas City next year, we know why.
Oh, Brett, if he turns up alongside Ivan Toney, you know what's happened. Yeah, there was a few dodgy decisions. Some really, I mean, when you're playing 5 minutes from the Super Bowl, you can't be dropping anything, can you? And I suppose, as much as we'll joke about the referees helping the Chiefs, they just don't make mistakes, do they?
When it comes to the big pressure moments, Mahomes is just on it. It's just repetitive.
They don't make mistakes. He throws the ball perfectly. It's almost like when they're under pressure or when he's under pressure, he's got an extra 10% that no one's got. I mean, I watched them last season. They were in the Super Bowl. So they're losing at the end, and he's got to take them from one end of the pitch to the other to win the Super Bowl. And there was an inevitability that he did it. I mean, it was my first full season of watching it, and I'd watched the Chiefs a lot. And you just knew he was going to do it. It was almost like, there was a period of time when you watch Man United and more recently when you watch City, where even at 1-0 down, or there'd be 2-0 down to somebody, and you think, they'll win this.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter how far behind they go, they will win this game. They could score another 3 and they'll still win it. And that's how you feel about the Chiefs at the minute. There's an inevitability that when he gets hold of the ball, it will end up where it should end up. And that's the scary part for everyone else.
I think the Eagles have got a couple of things going in their favour. So we have the best defence in the league.
Yeah.
Chiefs haven't scored that many points in games, let's be honest.
No, but they're not. They've never. I don't think they're particularly high scoring. They're an all-round team, aren't they? Like I said, they're pretty much good at everything.
Barkley gets going, stopping him is basically impossible right now.
Well, I'm going Eagles to win it. Having said all that about the Chiefs, Eagles to win it. I just think Barkley has to win it. I just think he's just that good.
So if anybody in America watches or listens to this podcast and you're in Philadelphia and the Eagles now lose, it's his fault.
Yeah.
Because he predicted that we'd win.
I just think he's got to win it. I just think they're just a more exciting team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely more exciting team. And our quarterback isn't a dosser like you believed he was. He's actually quite good.
He's quite good. He's all right.
And we have the best running back in the league right now.
They have the best. They have the best player right now in the league, and he also happens to be the fastest thing I've ever seen on 2 legs.
And can jump backwards over defenders.
Yeah, yeah. So crazy. I think he wins it because I just think he'll just do something. There's some of the touchdowns he scored last week where that one where he runs nearly the full length of the pitch, left, right, through to. He's like, what the bionic man? It's just crazy how good he is, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think if the Chiefs stop our running game, there's a big issue then.
Yeah, but you just got to. If he's as good as he's been all season, which he obviously is, then I think you just keep going, don't you? Keep going and keep going and keep going, and I've got a feeling they'll do it.
But because I live in England and don't get to watch it, I've then got to spend the next 20 hours ignoring all of social media
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it? It's like I do.
to try and watch the game. And
it's on at 11:30 for you at night.
Yes.
So when you get up, it's all finished, and then you'll not watch it till you get home.
And I've got to try not looking at my phone because it'll flash up straight away that who's won the Super Bowl. So I've got to try and open my phone.
A bout of bad sickness overnight, and you know these things happen. It's winter, bugs are going around. You're looking a bit flush. You're looking a bit, So it'll be on at 7:30 for me then, won't it? So yeah.
Yes. So you can get up and watch the Super Bowl
straight into it. Yeah. Just lock kids in
watch the 7-hour halftime show that Lamar Jackson is going to do, which apparently isn't a man who won a British singing competition 20 years ago. It's actually a modern person. I only know one person called Lamar, and it's not him, apparently.
No, I look forward to it. It'll, last season's was absolutely class. Yeah. It's very Americanified. It's very over the top.
It's in America.
There'll be airplanes, there'll be fireworks, there'll be smoke machines, and there'll be more cheerleaders on the pitch than you know what to do. But it's the one thing that Americans do that they do right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything
they do
else
support, well, they do American football well.
They do American football pretty good. Where's it at? Is it in the new stadium?
Whose new stadium?
New Orleans not got a new stadium. It got destroyed by a hurricane or
possibly. I couldn't tell you. Don't know.
Sure,
is it called the Superdome? I think.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure it's in quite a new stadium, and it's quite nice. Well, they're all quite nice, aren't they? Except for Chiefs. But yeah, a busy weekend then. And
it is.
There's football on now, isn't there?
There is. Barnsley have kicked off away at Stockport half an hour ago, actually.
You're not going to be surprised that wasn't what I was talking about.
Funnily enough, I did expect that because I sat and watched all of our game last weekend, as I do, and it's 2 hours of my life I want back. Ooh. And we are losing 2-0 at halftime.
Leyton Orient are beating Man City at halftime.
Yes, but that's not going to last, is it? As we've just said, there's an inevitability that Man City will come out and score 9.
Man City at the minute, they have had 13 shots already. So it does seem like and it wasn't on goal. Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, Man City are not... they're a little over shop at the minute, aren't they?
But I think, they'll just come back and win it. Let's be honest, they just will. Well,
happy days.
We will continue to plummet down the League One table.
Go Eagles.
Yes, go Eagles. And we shall be back next week for me to either cry with joy or cry with despair that as a lifelong Eagles fan...
It is nice to watch a sport where you don't have a time. Obviously, Miami were out of the playoffs about 3 weeks into the season.
Before first game.
About this time last season, they were out of this season's playoffs. So it's been nice to watch a sport. You've got no actual ties to anybody. You just watch them all and just enjoy watching it.
It has been really enjoyable to just watch.
I hope
the Eagles.
Yeah, I kind of part of me hopes Miami have about 8 good games at the start of next season, and then the crap again, and I just get to watch. Whenever they play, you just sit watching, thinking, "Oh no, it's this again." Innit? United have just lost. Now Miami lose. Everyone you watch loses. Perth Glory crap. It's like, it's just nice to watch a game where you just enjoy the game.
Apparently, though, I didn't know because I've only just been following the NFL. The Eagles are one of the most hated teams in the NFL in America, apparently. And nobody wants the Chiefs to win because the opinion is they get protected and they might be cheating. So basically, the rest of America doesn't care and doesn't want anybody to win.
I bet they all watch it, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you imagine what tickets are going for?
It'd be stupid money. Just literally ridiculous.
Mental, man. I bet you can't get a ticket for that for no amount of money.
No, you won't do. So I shall watch it in my living room instead. And on that note, with 24 hours to the Super Bowl, I'm going to say, come on, Eagles.
Go Eagles.
And we'll speak to you all soon.
See you later.